great. Look at Peyton bringing out a little sense of humor in Tiger Woods.
Oh, no, Peyton Manning is a funny guy.
Peyton is funny. I didn't know Tiger was.
Tiger in that inner circle,
yeah.
If you can break through that, yeah, you're definitely.
Well, Tiger got, very early in his career, he got burnt by a reporter. Told an off-color joke, like in a limo on a way to the thing, and they published it. And ever since then, he's like, okay, I'll just keep my sense of humor to myself. The other thing I took from that video, man, we forget how big Peyton Manning is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The
prototype. 6'6", yes.
I mean, look at that. You saw Peyton hit an 18-footer for birdie on the 18th hole of that Pro-Am yesterday.
Yeah, great golf course. I've played that golf course many a days. Jack, the greatest Buckeye that's ever lived in any sport.
Quick question, the elevation thing, that's just a joke.
Yeah, they're joking.
Awesome. Time for stories to start your morning. Here we go. The Rockets, tired of losing to the Warriors. They're reportedly ready for wholesale roster changes, according to reports. While a James Harden trade is extremely unlikely, everyone else is available, including Chris Paul and Clint Capella. Nick, is this the right approach for Houston?
Listen, I feel like it's the right approach. Doesn't mean they're going to make wholesale roster changes, but if you can get someone to take the Chris Paul contract off your hands and give you some real flexibility over the next few years, that could be a positive. And Clint Capella might have more utility for a team out east that isn't trying to get through Golden State than you got to deal with Joel Embiid and some of the other bigs. So yeah, I think you at the very least test the waters. I don't know if you're going to get any biters, especially when it comes to Chris Paul.
If they can trade Capella, I'm all for that. The rest of the team, they should bring back. Get into the gym. They've already changed the coaching staff outside the head coach, changed all the assistants. Send a message to the team. Everyone's available, but I'm just trying to scare them, Jenna. Get to the gym. Let's work out. Let's be a little better next year. We only got to be a little bit better to get beyond Golden State.
Marcus Cousins now. Steve Kerr says the big man is pain-free, but he's still questionable for tonight's Game 1 against the Raptors. See, how much impact can Boogie have?
I don't think he can have that much of an impact. I'm worried about the pace. I'm worried about him being a liability on the defensive end. I do believe that Toronto's going to try to play big. So I believe that Steve Kerr is going to think about, trying to utilize him the series. I don't think in the first couple games, I do think we will see a Boogie Cousins appearance and before we see Kevin Durant.
I think we'll definitely see Boogie before we see Kevin Durant, but this is as tough of a coaching decision as Steve Kerr has had in his 5 years as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. I listen to Jeff Van Gundy, who I have enormous respect for, talk about how difficult it is for Steve Kerr in this spot where your number one goal as the coach, your number one job is to put your team in the best position to win, but your number one obligation is to help your players succeed. And so right now, those two things might be juxtaposed. And Boogie has no experience coming off the bench, no experience playing 6 to 8 minutes. This is a really, I don't want to call it combustible necessarily, but it's a difficult spot for Steve Kerr to be in when Boogie has never played a game like this and is coming off a multi-week layoff.
And you can't afford him not to play effective. Give him 12 to 15 minutes and he's not effective on the floor.
All right, finally, one of the brightest storylines this postseason has been the play of Kawhi Leonard, some even comparing him to Jordan and Kobe. But despite leading the Raptors to the first ever NBA Finals, his future in Toronto is very much up in the air. Raptors GM Masai Ujiri says the team has to focus on the task at hand before worrying about free agency.
I said it from day one, we're going to be us. I think Kawhi Leonard is a superstar and we're going to treat him like a superstar, but we're also going to do all the natural things that I think will help us get to that level to convince Kawhi that this is the place for him. And the future conversations I've had with Kawhi about the Golden State Warriors, and that's his mindset. His mindset is what is at hand right now. What's the job right now? And the job right now is to beat the Golden State Warriors.
See, what are the chances the Raptors can hold on to Kawhi if they win the finals?
The more games they win, the better their chances are. Right now, the Raptors are in the driver's seat because he plays for them. And where they're at, they're in a special time. All the finals are, they're memorable. And if you can continue to build on the memories that he has created. Right now, Kawhi Leonard, in the limited number of playoff games he's played in with the Raptors, he's third all time in playoff scoring for the franchise. All right? And if he can pull off 4 more wins, it's the type of environment where he's worried about his basketball game. Am I going to get better? And he's gotten better. So now he's worried about his health. They've hired a doctor. That relationship has been well between the doctor, Kawhi, how much he's going to play, load management, all those types of things. He's very, very comfortable with his teammates there. And the last thing is, man, Kawhi Leonard's about basketball. He's about trying to be better. All the other things that we talk about with the other players, it's not as if Kawhi is an odd guy. He's just different than them. He just wants to be good at basketball. He's a Southern California kid, but right now playing in Toronto, they have the biggest draw on him because they have the biggest stage.
And Kawhi said something very interesting. It was either yesterday or the day before when he said, listen, I played with the Spurs my whole career. We came here once a year. I was in this city one day out of the 365 days a year, going to work that day and then out on a flight either that night or the next day. He said, now I'm living here. Now we're playing 41 games here. You get to really understand the fans, understand the environment, understand the city. So Toronto is in the best position they've been in since the moment they traded for him. But unless the Raptors get wiped out in this series, which I don't think anyone's going to pick. I don't know what your pick's going to be, but my guess is both of us, whoever we're picking, it has this thing going 6 or 7 games. I think Kawhi is going to have full license to go anywhere, and Toronto, even if they lose, assuming it's a competitive series, has made as strong of a case as they possibly could have.
I can tell you right now, his opinion has totally changed since the first day. When he showed up 2 days after the trade and he met with the general manager, his overall attitude, because that was not one of the teams that he wanted to be traded to. So they've had that type of impression on him.
Before we move on quickly, give me the sales pitch from Toronto, besides the fact that we have a good team and we can win. I mean, what are you selling them on besides going home, being able to play closer to where you grew up, all of it?
Well, I mean, I think it's we can pay you the most money. We're a championship-level team. We have stability within the organization, and this is, look at our fan base. And if you, the negative sales pitch as far as they're really, in my mind, competing with the Clippers at this point, first and foremost, if not exclusively. The negative sales pitch that you sell on the Clippers is they can offer you all these things. They can't offer you this fan base. You will go to a city where you don't even have the full support of that city. Here you have the full support of a country. And so I think that's the sales pitch. I also don't know that it will matter to Kawhi. And he has played so well. The only thing that's hurt Toronto about this run, is it has absolutely validated Kawhi's opinion that I do not need to play with another star. We become a contender wherever I set foot. So that hurts the Lakers a ton, hurts the Knicks potentially, I think, a lot, but it could help the Clippers enormously, right. Which is, what's the difference between the Clippers this year and the Raptors this year? One of them has Kawhi Leonard and the other one doesn't. So I still think even if they win the title, Kawhi could do something that's damn near unprecedented in NBA history, be the best player on a title team, and then say, I'm going to go play for a different team next season.
All right, let's move on now to Kevin Durant.